What I'd like to do today is to look at just one part of the parsha. It's quite a small part, but the beauty of Dvarim is that it always has so many important things in what seems to be just kind of like by the way. So I'm looking at Perek Chaf Zayin as chapter 27, and we in verse Tet. And what's happened is just before this is Bnei Israel have been commanded that when they cross the Yarden, they've got to set up these stones, which are going to form like a reminder for them of what they represent, and not only for them, but also they have to do it. But they have to write them in the 70 languages of the world, so that everybody can understand it, so that it can be clear what the role is of Am Yisrael in terms of their in terms of the role that they play in the world. And then it says, "Vayedaber Moshe v'hakohanim haLeviyim." Previously it had been Moshe with the Zakanim. Now Moshe comes and he speaks together with the Kohanim and the Leviyim. El Kol Yisrael Lemor, to everyone, to the whole of Bnei Israel, and says to them, Haskeit u'shema. Haskeit is a difficult word to understand, because it really, on a simple level, it means like to pay attention to. It means to listen to. It's like a strong language of listening to. So Haskeit u'shema, and listen. So double language, double paying attention to. U'shema Yisrael, Hayom hazeh niyeh la'am la'Adonai Elohecha. On this day, niyeh la'am, become his nation, la'Hashem Elokecha, to Hashem your God. V'shamata b'kol Adonai Elohecha, and you listen to Hashem. V'asita et matzav et chukotav Hashem Elohim mitzavcha hayom. And listen, and you got to listen to what Hashem wants and do the mitzvot which Hashem commands you today. And this, Rashi says, and we're going to leave Haskeit for the moment, we'll come back to that. Hayom hazeh niyeh la'am. Hayom hazeh niyeh la'am, it's a strange language, because it seems wrong. This is not the day that Bnei Israel became the nation. They've been traveling together for 40 years. When did they become a nation? They became a nation when they were taken out of Mitzrayim. So what does it mean? Hayom hazeh niyeh la'am. Then on this day, taken out as a nation, that you came out of Mitzrayim. That you become this nation. So it's obviously not simply that you became a nation. Rather, Hayom hazeh niyeh la'am, Rashi says, b'chol yom. Every single day, it's just it's an allegorical statement. It's not a homiletical statement. That this day is not the day you became a nation, but what you need to remember is that every day, must be in your eyes. As if that's the day in which you came together with HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'brit, in this covenant that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has called. And then what is this? Haskeit u'shema Yisrael. Haskeit, pay or shema Yisrael, and listen Yisrael. Hayom hazeh. The Gemara says, which is what Rashi quotes, and then it says, what is it coming to teach us? That Torah is so beloved to those who learn it every day. Not only the day that you became in the Brit, that you became in the covenant, but also it's the day, should be like seen as the day in which you received the Torah on Har Sinai. Amar Rabbi Tanchum, Bered Rabbi Chia, Ish Kfar Akko. Rabbi Tanchum said, the son of Rabbi Chia, a person who came from Kfar Akko, from Akko, up in the north, like where, Akko. He says, so it's the reason why I'm saying that he's not one of the most well-known people, but he says something so profound. He says, Teida, says you must know. Adam kara kriyat shma shachris va'arvis. A person has to say kriyat shma every day and every night, in shachris and arvis, in the morning and the evening. And if he doesn't say it once, one evening, it's as if he never said it ever. So it's quite a hard thing, right? You miss saying kriyat shma one day. So comes Rabbi Tanchum Bered Rabbi Chia, and he says, you know what? If you miss it once, if you never said it at all, and that's a very difficult thing to understand. Firstly, we understand from the Rashi that Rashi is saying that every day you've got to see yourself as you come into the covenant with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Rabbi Asher Weiss explains that what this means, and we have to try and understand this in terms of context of what we've just learned, because we've just learned that you have to say Kriyat Shema every day. We know if you didn't, then you're as if you said nothing. Rav Asher Weiss explains why is it so important that Rashi is speaking about every day. Every day is if you became the nation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he says Rav Asher Weiss, constant renewal is the key to remaining fresh and energetic in the service of Hashem. You have to constantly be renewing. We constantly be chiddush. Otherwise, there's just pure monotony. It's a dry routine. And the Piasetzner Rebbe, he explains, once cried over the fact that even though he was born a Jew, the Piasetzner Rebbe, this is one of the greatest of the greats. He was known as the Rebbe of the children in the Warsaw Ghetto. He gathered all those orphans whose parents had been killed in the time by the Nazis in the time of the Holocaust. He gathered them, and he was their Rebbe. He gave them a chizuk to go on every single day. He says he wishes, in a way, that he had not been born a Jew because he never had the opportunity to convert to Judaism. He was born and raised in Hashem's service. He said he would have loved to be able to show Hashem his willingness to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu by making a conscious decision to serve Hashem. The truth, says Rav Asher Weiss, is that what Rashi is telling us here, every day you have to see as if we came under the covenant, is that we can, in a way, convert anew. Every day we have to see, this is the day that I became a Jew. That we as Am Yisrael became this nation that has got all these obligations and all this incredible responsibility and all the beauty of connection of the deep, incredible way to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why? Because we understand that how does a ger work, a convert? The way the convert works is the convert goes through a process of learning, becomes to a point where they're ready. And at that point where they're ready, what they do, they have to commit to observing the entire Torah. And if a person commits to observing the entire Torah except for one little detail, then he's rejected completely. So too, we have to commit every single day, resolving in ourselves to keep the entire Torah. Because that's what our forefathers did at Har Sinai. And if that's what they did, then we can perhaps begin to understand to a certain degree what this Gemara means when the Gemara throws out and it says, that if you didn't say Kriyat Shema, you said it all the time, every day, and one day you missed it out, as if you never said it, because perhaps that's the day you didn't take upon yourself the new Brit. That's the day you didn't recommit. That's the day we didn't take it on ourselves, and therefore it's as if we never said it ever, because every day is a new opportunity to say Kriyat Shema. Every day is a new opportunity to reconnect with the profundity, the depth, the beauty of what the Ribono Shel Olam gave us on Har Sinai. And it's quite a difficult concept, that, by the way. That you say it every single day, you say Shema, and on the one day that you don't say it's like as if you never, doesn't mean that. It mamish means that you never said it, you get no schar, you get no reward, you get no nothing. No, really, what Rabbi Tanchum, Rabbi Chia is saying is that you've missed that opportunity to reconnect profoundly. And so therefore on that day, it's as if you aren't part of Am Yisrael. And if you're not part of Am Yisrael, then you don't have Shema Yisrael. It means you don't have that piece of that thing. And remember, it's all allegorical. It's not halachic. It's just the concept. And therefore he says that that we have to recognize that what shehu mitchadesh v'holech, that a person is mitchadesh v'holech. Person renews him or herself. A person keeps going. V'chol yom v'rega hu mesugal litavot mechadash k'am Hashem. And every single rega, every single moment is mesugal liot mechadash. We can renew ourselves at every single point, and that's obviously is the point of Elu, is to understand that at every point we can find those opportunities to renew ourselves, to become different, to take on something new, and therefore comes along and we understand why it is that this understanding of not connecting is a lost opportunity. The Tam Vadas uses this Rashi, and he says that same question, the obvious question, is that obviously where if we remember, the Gemara says that it's as if we learned, we got the Torah on that day. We didn't get the Torah on that day. We got the Torah 40 years before then. And if we have to see as if we're getting the Torah every day, it's the same problem. Well, don't say the Kriyat Shema, etc. We need to understand. He says, Zeh shemutal ala Adam lit'alot ba'avodas Hashem yisbarach b'chol yom v'yom. He says, you know why? You know why? If you don't say Shema, if you don't recognize that this is the day that you received the Torah, if you don't do all these things, you don't see it as you beinecha ki'ilu hayom. You'd seen in your eyes if this is the day. He says because we have to constantly be growing in our avodat Hashem. We've constantly got to be going higher. Every day, according to where we are in that day, we've got to keep moving. And that's why it's every day that you come into a new Brit. It's an amazing concept, right? If we came into the same Brit today as we did the Brit yesterday, I mean, this is really, I'm thinking to myself, wow, what a thing. If it's the same Brit, then it means I haven't grown. The covenant is so deep, it's so broad and it's so deep. And if I'm in the same space in that covenant as I was yesterday, says the Tam Vadas, Rav Sternbach says that that's problematic. We got to see it as if the Torah was given on this day. And therefore, when the Torah is given, what do you do on the day when you receive the beautiful gift? What do you do on the day that you know that you're going to be hearing the most unbelievable positive words of depth and of growth? You get ready for it. You prepare for yourself. You're going to make yourself strong on that day. It says, but if you don't recognize that that's what happens every single day, then it's he says, then it's what yargishu benafsho she'arata lo kayam et haTorah karaui. You have to feel that you haven't fulfilled the Torah as it needs to be fulfilled, because we're not at that point every day to constantly take things into ourselves. And that's really what this part is all about. Haskei to Shema Yisrael. Listen, here, Am Yisrael, because something new is going to be happening. What new? The newness in that which you knew before, which is not always an easy thing to bear in mind, and certainly not always a thing to understand. The Sforno says the following. Says that why is Moshe now speaking with the Kohanim and the Leviim? Sorry, I just want to close the door. Give me 1 second. Sorry, so it says the Sforno, Shataf imo haKohanim. Why does Moshe Rabbeinu bring the Kohanim to come with him? Lahashir al ha'iyun b'Torah, in order that they will assist to warn him on the iyun, on the fact that we have to find depth in our learning. What's the job of the Kohanim? You know, we always see the Kohanim, the thing that we know the Kohanim do is that the Kohanim go up on Chagim and they give the Birkat Kohanim and they lift up their hands, and it's beautiful and it's important and it's wonderful. But the real role of the Kohanim is Yoru Mishpatecha Yaakov. They're supposed to be teaching. They're supposed to be teaching who and what we're supposed to be doing, and how and what we're supposed to be doing. And then he says, and so therefore Moshe Rabbeinu brings the Kohanim with, because the Kohanim also, Kohanim's resume, it says the Kohanim are, they've got a certain level of alacrity. They're trying to teach us that we've got to keep moving. We've got to see it every day. And then it says haskate, and the word haskate means tzier b'machshavatcha. Kamo atzukot milchachem. Says the Sforno. You know what the word haskate means? Haskate doesn't just mean pay attention to. It's an unbelievable word. Tzier b'machshavatcha. Draw a picture in your mind. Contemplate it, but not just the thought of it, but contemplate it with a picture. Because the most powerful thing that we have is the vision, the visionary thing, the things that we see. That's why it says, the things we feel and the things that we see so much. And says the Sforno, you know what you're supposed to have? Every day, what we're supposed to put into our minds is a picture of what the Torah is a picture of what we received, is a picture of Am Yisrael. And really, we speak about them in a business context, in a personal context, we speak about a vision. What are our goals? There's a great business thinker, his name is Jim Collins. He speaks about your big, hairy, audacious goal, your BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal, which is like, what is the thing that you're like completely out of the box? That big, hairy, audacious goal, you have to visualize. You have to have it in your mind. Comes along this foreigner, and that's not Jim Collins' idea, it's his idea. Sayer b'machshavatcha. Have it in your mind. Have it in your mind what it means to be a Yid. Whatever that means for you. Because every single person has got their own image of what they feel they can be to be a Yid. But one of the things that Natalie and I often speak about is that who are our role models? Who are the people that we see, that we have some type of desire to be like? Since COVID, I lose words. What are we trying to? Who are our dugma ishit? I say, I want to be like that. What's my aspiration to be like? That's haskate. Sayer b'machshavatcha. Put it into your mind. What is that picture of that person that you see is the Jew that you want to be? And it's not easy. And if you
emulate,
sorry, say again.
Emulate.
Good word. Good word. Thank you. That's it. Who's the person you want to emulate? Shema Yisrael hayom hazeh niyet ha'am. Rashi tells us, you know why you can do it today, even if you didn't do it yesterday? Because hayom hazeh. Today you can do it. And the Rav Wolbe was one of the great mashkichim, a great Balei Musar. So he said that the key to all of it is from the Sforno. The picturing Torah concepts in our minds can aid us in the fulfillment of the mitzvot. That's why we do it. It's an amazing thing. On Pesach, we have this whole story, all these different images of the matzah and the maror and this, because we start picturing things using different types of stimuli. But in actual fact, we're supposed to not only picture those stimuli on Pesach, we're supposed to picture those things hayom, every single day. We should picture the events that made us into who we are. We should pick the events that we want to happen. And that's the most beautiful thing about emunah, is that emunah, this belief, this concept of this depth of where we're connecting to, allows us to picture these things in our minds. And once we start listening, Shema, what does the word Shema mean? We say, hear, O Israel, the Lord thy God, the Lord is one. What does it even mean? The word Shema, Rashi, the Sforno says, means v'hit bonein. When we picture this image to who we want to emulate, where our aspirations are, what our vision is, then v'hit bonein. V'hit bonein is from the shoresh, from the word bina. Bina is a certain level of understanding. We say every single day, Ata chonen la'adam da'at, umelamed le'enosh bina. You are Kodesh Baruch who gives da'at. Da'at is the ability to discern between right and wrong. And bina is the ability to take that da'at and use it and extrapolate it into our everyday world. When we say Shema, Hit Bonain, says the Sforno, think about things carefully, how we can take these images, how we can take all this passion that we're trying to put into Avodas Hashem, and know we've become a nation to our Kodesh Baruch Hu. And when you listen and you mitbonein, and when you contemplate the words of our Kodesh Baruch Hu, then what? As the Sforno says, b'li safek. There's no doubt. If we really start to picture, there's such a big musar, I know for me, we're going to get into the rut of the things that we do. But if we really picture the vision of what we could be, of who we could be, there's a beautiful story that's told. We all know about Zushia. Right? Zushia is crying And they come to say, Zushia, why are you crying? He says, they say you were as great as Avraham Avinu, you were as learned as Moshe Rabbeinu, you were this and that, as David HaMelech, all these different things. And Zushia says, that's why I'm crying. Because when I get up on there, on high, and I've passed away and my neshama goes there, they're not going to say to me, Zushia, why weren't you Avraham Avinu? They're going to say to you, Zushia, why weren't you Zushia? They were going to say to you, Bli Safek, why weren't you who you were supposed to be? If we're able to picture who we are supposed to be, who we feel we could be, and we have that image in our mind, as Rashi said, every day, then we come to a different level of our connection to the Ribono Shel Olam. I learned that this morning, and I realized that it's certainly a lacking in myself. One needs to take time to make images in one's head. One needs to take time to picture oneself as great as one could be. There's a wonderful story. I can't remember who it's about, but they tell about I can't remember. It was one of the Gedolim. So his house burnt down. I think it was the Meshech Chochmah. His house burnt down, and they lost everything. Everything, all the pictures and all these things that they had of their lives. And the mother was crying, and the son who became this gadol came and said, "Why are you crying?" She said, "Because all our yichus has gone up in flames." And he said, "Don't worry, I'll make new yichus, because that's what we can do. But we have to have such a vision of what that yichus could be in order to be able to manifest that in the most wonderful and beautiful and special way." And I think that is really what this time is about, is to giving us that opportunity to do this. Comes along the Dartschrager, Rabbi Greenberg, and he says, Inyan shel davar chadash v'chidushim. He says that we have to understand that this concept of renewing ourselves today is now the opportunity for us to start renewing ourselves. The concept is that omeid b'merkaz chayei ha'adam. That is the thing that stands in the very center of the human being. Right? Why? Because it says, Ve'ilu davar yashan mitiv'o eino me'anyan anashim. He says people get very bored. They get easily bored by the old stuff. He says that, and because they get bored, we get stuck in our ruts. And what we have to do is to find that space in which we can really start developing ourselves to get in the space of hitchadshut. And then perhaps the most important way of remembering that is to understand that something we say every single day. And every single day we say, as part of our davening, we say that Hashem is mechadesh b'tuvo b'chol yom tamid. Mechadesh b'tuvo b'chol yom tamid. Which means that Hashem b'tuvo, in His goodness, is mechadesh. He renews the world b'chol yom tamid, every single day. And as I was thinking about it, I thought, gee whiz, maybe we have to reframe that, because if we're supposed to be imitating HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're supposed to be the image of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this world, we also need to be the ones who are mechadesh b'tuvo b'chol yom tamid. But perhaps it means something different for us. Mechadesh, we renew, b'tuvo, in our tovness. Each one of us have got tovness. Remember, the world is created. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees or, and He says, "Vayar Elokim et ha'or v'hinei tov." Right? So He says that the light is tov. Everything that is godly is tov. So, perhaps what we need to do in our lives is mechadesh b'tuvo, in our tovness. Each one of us in our own tovness. B'chol yom tamid, every single day. If we can be mechadesh, that godliness, not find it boring, not make it something that is just the rote that we do. We daven in rote, we learn with rote, we engage with rote, we say brachas with rote, all of those things. If we can mechadesh that, then that hitchadshut gives us a whole different way of engaging with things. And so that perhaps that is really what the Torah is trying to tell us. V'adaber Moshe v'hakohanim haleviim el kol Yisrael. When the Kohanim and the Levim say to Bnei Israel, Haskate, as the Sforno said, picture what we could be. Remember, we speak about this whole idea of, that a person has to play to their strengths. The strength in Yiddishkeit, the strength in Ruchnius are Tuvo, or that which are the Tov within us. Haskate, picture that Tov, Ushma Yisrael, and Hitbonein, and figure how can we bring that into the world? Hayom Hazeh, in today, because it's never too late for us to find those spaces to grow, never too late for us to find that Hitchatshut in our lives. Let's stop there, and Bezrat Hashem will continue to grow and continue to learn. Have a wonderful day.